We have already come.
There's a difference between a sad song and a song that breaks you. A sad song makes you feel something for 3 minutes. The other kind waits. It sits quiet in the back of your mind for years, and then one random Tuesday, it ambushes you in a grocery store parking lot.
On the road, he held her tight and kissed her.
Country music has always known the difference. While other genres chase the perfect breakup anthem, country goes somewhere darker, somewhere truer. It writes about the things people don't say out loud. The apology that came too late. The call nobody wanted to answer. The truck still parked in the driveway. Today we're counting down 10 songs that did exactly that. Songs built on real grief, real history.
Would you mind if I send one back here to you?
And real people who lived through the moment before the song ever existed. Stick around, because number 1 isn't just the saddest song on this list. It might be the most important song in country music's entire history of mourning. Now, before we start, let's set the ground rules, because sad country song is basically the entire genre, and if we let just anything qualify, we'd be here until Christmas.
To do it for the first time in front of anybody, please welcome Mr. Alan Jackson.
Every song on this list had to clear 3 bars. First, a verified true story or documented origin behind the lyrics. No legend, no campfire rumor, no, I heard somewhere. Second, measurable impact, chart performance, awards, or a cultural footprint you can actually point to. And third, the hardest bar of all, staying power. Not a song that made you cry once. A song that still gets requested at funerals, at weddings.
Don't worry, but I won't be able to write for a while.
At 2 a.m. in a kitchen, decades after it was written. These aren't just heartbreak songs. These are the ones country music built its reputation on. Let's get into it.
Every back road in this town, I find a field. I tell
Number 10, Don't Take the Girl, Tim McGraw.
Johnny's daddy was
Picture a small Texas dance hall in 1994, the kind with a jukebox older than half the patrons in it. Somebody drops a quarter in, and the room goes quiet the second the fiddle comes in.
her to go, but someday you'll change your mind. And Johnny,
That's the effect Tim McGraw's Don't Take the Girl had the moment it hit radio. On paper, it reads almost like a gimmick, a song told across 4 verses, following one boy and one girl from childhood fishing trips to a wedding day.
Daddy, please.
But here's what most people missed on first listen. That structure wasn't a gimmick at all. It was a slow-loading trap, and country radio walked right into it. The song was written by Craig Martin and Larry Johnson.
Grabbed her by the arm. Said if you
And McGraw recorded it for his 1994 album, Not a Moment Too Soon, the album that turned him from a promising newcomer into a genuine star. Don't Take the Girl became his second #1 single.
won't be any harm. And Johnny said, take my money.
And it did something a lot of hit songs never manage. It made grown men who'd never admit to crying at a movie go quiet in their trucks. The twist lands in the final verse, when that same boy
Oh, gave me. Here's a key to my car, Mr. Give it.
now a husband, stands in a hospital and begs for his wife's life instead of his own. It's a bait and switch built entirely on repetition. The listener thinks they know the rules of the song, and then the rules get rewritten in real time. It's number 10 because its emotional trick. As effective as it is still a trick, a beautifully executed one, but a fictional narrative rather than a documented true story. Still, 3 decades later, people can't hear that fiddle intro without bracing themselves.
There's gonna be a little one and she.
And that's exactly why we're starting here. But if you think a slow build is devastating, wait until you hear what one house fire did to country radio in the same decade.
Doctor says a baby's fire.
Number 9, Independence Day, Martina McBride.
We have already come.
It's the 4th of July, fireworks over a small town, and in one Independence Day country song, that same date becomes the anniversary of something nobody wants to remember. Martina McBride's Independence Day, written by Gretchen Peters.
I was only 8 years old that summer, and I always seemed to be in the way.
Dropped in 1994, off McBride's album, The Way That I Am, and country radio had genuinely never heard anything quite like it. It's narrated by a young girl, describing her mother's escape from an abusive marriage.
On Independence Day.
Ending with the mother setting the house ablaze, rather than living inside it one more day. Here's the detail that stopped people cold. This wasn't a metaphor dressed up as a story. Peters wrote it as a direct, unflinching account of domestic violence.
I wanna back on Independence Day.
At a time when country radio almost never went there, songwriters were writing about lost love. Peters was writing about survival. The impact was real. The single reached the top 10 on the country charts, earned McBride a CMA nomination, and became one of the defining songs of the domestic violence conversation inside country music, a genre that had, up to that point, mostly looked away. The irony sits right there in the title. Independence Day sounds like a celebration. It's actually a story about the cost of freedom, the kind you have to burn something down to get. That's why it lands at number 9. A song brave enough to say the quiet part out loud, in a genre that wasn't ready to hear it yet.
Well, she lit up the sky that.
Coming up, a song built entirely from a stranger's phone call, and the true story behind it might be harder to sit with than the song itself.
They just put out the flames and took down some names. Send me to.
Number 8, I Drive Your Truck, Lee Brice.
Haiti.
Somewhere in Kentucky, a father gets in his son's old pickup truck just to feel closer to him. He doesn't say why. He doesn't have to. That's not a lyric. That's the true story that became I Drive Your Truck.
Got their ways of coping when I got mine.
Songwriters Jesse Alexander, Jimmy Yeary, and Connie Harrington heard an NPR interview with an Army sergeant named Roger Jarrell, talking about how he'd started driving the truck that belonged to his son, Specialist Paul David Karam, killed in Iraq in 2007. That conversation, almost word for word, became the bones of the song. Lee Brice recorded it for his 2012 album Hard to Love, and it hit number 1 on Billboard's country airplay chart. In 2013, it won the CMA Award for Song of the Year, one of the highest honors a piece of songwriting can receive in the genre. Here's the twist that makes this one different from almost everything else on this list. The song wasn't inspired by a true story.
Probably punch my arm right now if you saw this tear rolling.
It practically is the true story, lightly reshaped into verse and chorus. Roger Jarrell's Grief became a number 1 radio hit, heard by millions of strangers who'd never met his son. It sits at number 8 because of exactly that rawness.
But that flag and stone ain't where I feel you anyway.
A documented account of loss, turned into art without softening the edges. If you've ever kept something of someone's just to feel them near you one more time, this one isn't going to be easy to sit through. It wasn't easy to write either.
In this town I find a field, I tear it up till all the pain.
Now, from a father's grief to a mother watching her child suffer in silence, this next one is the hardest 4 minutes on the entire list.
I drive your truck.
Number 7, Concrete Angel, Martina McBride.
She walks to school with
A little girl in a worn blue dress stands alone at recess. She never says a word about what's happening at home. The song does the talking for her. Martina McBride returns to this list with Concrete Angel, written by Stephanie Bentley and Rob Crosby,
behind the mask, bearing the burden.
and released in 2002 off McBride's album Greatest Hits. It's a song about child abuse, told through the eyes of a girl who doesn't survive it, and the accompanying music video, which shows the girl's silent classmate watching and doing nothing, became just as talked about as the song itself.
That she can rise above, but her
McBride herself has spoken about why she was drawn to it. She wanted a song that could put a human face on statistics people usually scroll past. It worked. Concrete Angel reached the top 10 on the country charts and became closely tied to McBride's advocacy work against domestic violence. She's spoken at length about performing it at shelters and events for survivors.
a fragile soul caught in the hands of fate,
Turning a radio hit into something closer to a public service. The devastating twist isn't hidden in a plot reveal, it's hidden in the title itself. Concrete Angel isn't a metaphor for strength, it's a description of a headstone.
through the wind and the rain, she stands hard as a stone.
The song tells you that in the very last verse, and by then, it's already too late to brace yourself. It's number 7 because very few country songs have ever taken on a subject this difficult, this directly, and turned it into a top 10 hit without flinching.
Concrete angel.
This isn't a song people request because they enjoy it. They request it because somebody needs to hear it. Up next, a song about a soldier's letters home that got caught in a political storm bigger than the war itself.
A statue stands in a shade.
Number 6, Travelin' Soldier, The Chicks, Dixie Chicks.
In his army green sat down in a booth at a cafe there, gave his order to.
It's 1972. A high school girl gets a letter from Vietnam. She doesn't know it yet, but she's about to become a war widow before she's even old enough to call herself a girlfriend. Travelin' Soldier was written by Texas singer-songwriter Bruce Robertson,
Send a letter to. Would you mind?
who first recorded it himself back in 1996. The Dixie Chicks, now known as The Chicks, covered it for their 2002 album Home, and it climbed all the way to number 1 on the country charts in the spring of 2003.
Told you to come back again, never more be alone. When my letters.
Here's where the story takes a hard left turn. Just weeks after Travelin' Soldier hit number 1, lead singer Natalie Maines made comments on stage in London criticizing President George W. Bush ahead of the Iraq War. The backlash was immediate.
So the letters came from an arm.
Country radio stations across the country pulled the group's music, including this song, almost overnight. A number 1 hit about the human cost of war got yanked from airplay in the middle of a different war entirely. That's the irony sitting at the center of this entry. A song written with total empathy for a soldier,
But I won't be able to write for a while.
and the girl waiting for him got buried by the very medium built to carry it to people. The song didn't change, the moment around it did. It lands at number 6 because the story inside the song, a soldier's final letter arriving after his own death,
And I'm another guy too young for him. They told her waiting for the love.
has already been announced, is devastating enough on its own. The politics that followed only proved how much that vulnerability unsettled people. Sometimes the saddest part of a sad song isn't the lyrics, it's what happened to it afterward. Before we get to the back half of this list, the songs that don't just make you sad, they make you sit with something. Do yourself a favor and hit subscribe to Retrovibes. We dig up the real history behind these records, the parts that never make it into the liner notes. And honestly, half of what's coming next You won't find laid out anywhere else like this. If a song like this has ever hit you harder than you expected, this channel is where that story actually gets told.
One Friday night at a football game, the Lord's Prayer said and the anthem.
Number 5. If Tomorrow Never Comes, Garth Brooks.
She's lost in peace.
A man lies awake at 3 a.m. next to his sleeping wife, and instead of drifting back off, he wakes her up, just to tell her he loves her, in case he never gets the chance again. That's the moment that became Garth Brooks' very first single.
If tomorrow never comes.
If Tomorrow Never Comes, co-written with Kent Blasey, and released in 1989 off his self-titled debut album. It's easy to forget now, with everything Brooks went on to become, that this unassuming ballad was the very first thing the world ever heard from him on radio. Brooks has talked about the song's origin.
And she must face this world.
Coming from exactly that kind of sleepless night thought, the fear of losing someone you love, without ever having said the important things out loud. It became his first #1 hit, launching a career that would eventually make him one of the best-selling solo artists in American music history, across any genre.
You never knew how much I love them.
The twist here isn't in the lyrics, it's in the timing. This wasn't a seasoned superstar reflecting on mortality after years of fame. This was an unknown singer's debut single, and somehow it landed with the emotional weight of someone twice his age and experience.
That my true feelings for them never were revealed.
Nobody expected a total newcomer's first song to hit that hard. It's number 5 because of what it represents as much as what it says. The moment country music realized this new artist wasn't just going to sell records. He was going to make people sit in their cars in the driveway until the song finished.
How I feel. 'Cause if tomorrow.
Unable to go inside just yet. From a quiet 3 a.m. confession, we move to a song built on the opposite instinct. Not fear of running out of time, but a direct challenge to use every second of it.
To show her every day that she's my only one.
Number 4. Live Like You Were Dying, Tim McGraw. A man sits in a doctor's office and hears the 2 words nobody wants to hear. What he does with that news becomes one of the most quoted country songs of the 2000s. Live Like You Were Dying, written by Tim Nichols and Craig Wiseman,
And talking about sweet time, I asked him when it sank in.
was recorded by Tim McGraw for his 2004 album of the same name. And the timing here is almost too painful to be coincidental. McGraw's own father, baseball pitcher Tug McGraw, was diagnosed with a brain tumor around the same period the song was being recorded.
And I gave forgiveness I've been denying.
Tug passed away in January 2004, not long after the album's release. The song swept the major awards that year: CMA Song of the Year, CMA Single of the Year, and a Grammy for Best Male Country Vocal Performance.
He said I was finally.
It became one of those rare songs that crossed out of country radio entirely and into general pop culture, quoted at graduations, in sports broadcasts, at hospital bedsides. Here's the layer most casual listeners miss. The lyrics never actually reveal what happens to the man after his diagnosis. We don't know if he survives, if he doesn't, if the diagnosis was even terminal.
And then
The song isn't really about death at all. It's a checklist for living, wrapped in the language of mortality, released into the world at the exact moment its performer was living through a version of it himself. That real-world overlap is exactly why it sits at number 4. It's a song about facing the end that arrived.
deeper and I spoke sweeter and I.
Almost impossibly, right as its singer was facing that same reality with someone he loved. Next up, a song that doesn't build to one devastating moment. It stretches an entire lifetime across 4 minutes, and somehow makes every year of it count.
And he said, someday I hope you get the chance.
Number 3, Remember When, Alan Jackson. "40 years. That's how much time Alan Jackson tries to fit into a single song. And somehow, it never feels rushed. Remember When, written entirely by Jackson himself, was released in 2003 off his album
When vowed the vows and walked the walk.
Greatest Hits Volume 2. It traces a marriage from its first spark all the way through raising children, watching them leave home, and settling into old age together. The highs, the arguments, the slow accumulation of an entire shared life.
Remember when old ones died.
The song became one of Jackson's signature hits, reaching the top of the country charts, and remaining, to this day, one of the most requested songs at weddings and anniversaries in the genre's history, which is a strange thing to say about a song that's just as much about hardship as it is about love. The quiet twist is in what Jackson chooses to include.
There's hearts remember when.
Most songwriters would smooth over the hard years. Jackson doesn't. He puts the words that were spoken that should not have been, right there in the second verse, alongside all the joy, because that's what 40 years with someone actually looks like. It's not a highlight reel. It's the whole thing. It earns the number 3 spot because of that honesty. This isn't a song about falling in love. It's a song about staying in it, through every version of hard that comes with staying. And for anyone who's spent decades with the same person, this one doesn't just resonate. It feels like being handed a mirror, 2 spots left, and the next one isn't about a personal loss at all. It's about a mourning the entire country lost something together.
The sound of little feet.
Number 2, Where Were You When the World Stopped Turning, Alan Jackson.
Went to bed late last week. He couldn't sleep because of an idea that he had for this song. It kept running through his head.
September 2001. A songwriter sits down, unsure what to write, because for once, there are no words big enough for what just happened. Alan Jackson wrote, "Where were you when the world stopped turning?"
That September day, out in the yard.
In the days following the September 11th attacks, reportedly finishing much of it in the middle of the night, unable to sleep. He debuted it live at the CMA Awards that November, in front of an audience still raw from the events of just weeks earlier, before it was even released as a single.
You shout out in anger and fear for your neighbor, or did you just sit down?
The response was immediate and overwhelming. It went on to win the CMA Award for Song of the Year and the Grammy for Best Country Song. Recognition not just for craft, but for capturing a national moment almost nobody else in music had the words for yet. The line that made it timeless isn't a grand statement about geopolitics or grief.
Who walked from the rubble and sobbed for the ones left below?
It's a simple, almost childlike question, asking whether you knew the difference between right and wrong, whether you had faith, whether you called your mother and told her you loved her. Jackson didn't try to explain the tragedy. He just asked what it made each of us do in response. It sits at number 2 not because of a personal story like the others on this list, but because of scale. This is the rare song that took a shared national wound
Real political man. I watched CNN, but
and turned it into something an entire country could grieve through together, all at the same time, in the same 3.5 minutes. Which brings us to number 1, and unlike every entry before it, this isn't just a song about grief. It's a song that was written twice, once for a friend and once for a brother, and it's become the closest thing country music has to a hymn.
where were you when the world stopped turning?
Number 1, Go Rest High on That Mountain, Vince Gill. There's a specific sound in country music that everyone recognizes the instant it starts, even if they can't name it. A steel guitar that doesn't sound sad so much as it sounds like release. That sound belongs to one song, and it has been sung at more funerals in the last 30 years than almost anything else ever recorded. That song is Vince Gill's Go Rest High on That Mountain. Here's the part most people don't know, and it changes everything about how you hear it. Gill began writing this song in 1989. After the death of his close friend and fellow singer Keith Whitley, who died of alcohol poisoning at just 34 years old. Gill got as far as the first verse and the chorus, and then he stopped. He couldn't finish it. The grief was too immediate, too unresolved. The song sat unfinished for 4 years. Then,
Left us, we gathered round.
in 1993, Gill's own brother Bob died of a heart attack, and in the aftermath of that second loss, Vince Gill went back to the unfinished song, sitting in a drawer, and wrote the final verse. The one that speaks directly to a brother, not a friend. He released it in 1995 on the album
Go rest high.
When Love Finds You, and it won 2 Grammy Awards, including Best Country Vocal Performance and Best Country Song. But awards were never really the point. What happened next is what turned this from a hit single into something closer to sacred ground. Go Rest High on That Mountain became the song country music turns to when it can't find its own words.
Go to hell.
It has been performed at an extraordinary number of funerals for the genre's own, sung live at services for stars whose lives it seemed almost destined to close out. It's a song written out of 2 specific griefs, and somehow it became universal enough to carry everyone else's. Here's the twist that makes this song different from every other entry on this list. It wasn't written to become a hit. Vince Gill wasn't thinking about charts or airplay when he picked that song back up in 1993. He was thinking about his brother, every single time it's been sung since. At a funeral, at a memorial, at a tribute broadcast on live television, with Gill's voice audibly breaking mid-verse. It's still doing exactly the job it was written to do. It's not performing grief. It's carrying it. That's why it's number 1. Every other song on this list tells a story about someone else's heartbreak. Beautifully, honestly, sometimes almost unbearably. This one doesn't tell a story about grief. It functions as an act of it. Written by a man who lost 2 people he loved, 4 years apart. And somehow found exactly the right words both times. Most of us search our whole lives for language like that. Vince Gill wrote it twice. 10 songs, 10 different kinds of loss. A wife who didn't leave, a soldier who didn't come home, a child nobody protected, a brother nobody got to say goodbye to properly, until a song finally said it for them. What ties all of it together isn't sadness for its own sake. It's honesty. Every one of these songs exists because somebody, a songwriter, a grieving father on the radio, a mother escaping a burning house, a brother left behind, refused to look away from something painful and decided to put it into words instead. That's always been country music's real gift, not making things prettier than they are, making them bearable enough to sit with. So if one of these ambushed you today, in a good way,
Only you could know the pain.
or a hard way, you're not alone in that. Somewhere right now, someone else just heard "Go Rest High on That Mountain" for the 100th time and still had to pull the car over. That's the whole point. That's why these songs never really leave us. If this one hit you the way it hit us putting it together, let us know down in the comments.
On earth is done. Go to
Which song got you the hardest? And stick around, because there are a lot more of these stories still to tell.
love for the farm.